Hello, how you guys doing? Kind of blew out my voice. I don't know how I did that. So I got like a caramel in so that way I can kind of like rest it a bit. I just did that. And that's what I was recording. I hadn't recorded I didn't like the painting that I had originally done, which was this guy. I feel like it's a little childish. Here it is a little closer. It's not that bad, but is show rev stuff coming back? I mean, yeah, why not? I like the pastel-y look of it. Part of that is that I'm running out of white. This is my white tube. I don't know where the cap went. This is all the white I have. Here's money to feed the Noida addiction. What were you showing chat? Canvas? This guy? It's a picture I took of the trolley. It's actually not as bad as I remember it. I might use it in a future arcade. Is my brighten your day? What is this? Let's see. 3-story act for that has something for everybody. Okay, sure. I think that counts as assaulting a police officer, but very funny. Yeah, that was 100% assault, but low-key funny. So for today's arcade, what I'm doing is I did a painting in 45 minutes, him, and then I just uploaded it as that, but overdubbed what was going on. You know? Yeah, I would have said, I don't know what the law is in the UK, but that's looked like assault to me. So that's rendering in the background. Hopefully I can get it together before it's time. I had done some other stuff, but I was just like not having a great time with the paintings I had done. Yeah, they're super fucked if they get caught, and that guy filming probably made it so they do get caught. I do like Project Silverfish, but I will say I don't know as if it's like the draw I need, you know? I think I've done all of the levels for my game now. Let's see which ones I'm skipped. Oh, I skipped 2. 2 that I had designed and come up with ideas for. But oh man, this is a little chunky with the render going. Maybe we just sit in chat for a bit. Maybe we turn this into show rev stuff, because that is not a good frame rate to be showing stuff at. Yeah, I bet you it's yeah. CPU saying 100% activity is probably the reason it's working like that. So there's that. Nah, I'm rendering a video. So, best not to do that. But yeah, let's see. Let me see if there's anything in the show rev stuff that we haven't seen. I'm pretty sure there's quite a bit. Let's change this to just chatting. There's lots, right? Just chatting and show rev stuff. Okay. I might even let's go ahead and update the blue skeet. My wife is coming home early today. We got some stuff that we need to get done. Where is it? Okay, let's get rid of the Noita post. Only one person has interacted with it, so that's fine. Has anyone sent the Homestuck pilot in? I watched it. I'm not gonna lie, it looks pretty good. Like, if you were to tell me that it was not done by VisiPop, I would believe you. Like, I'm not a fan of VisiPop, mainly because of, like, the way they write characters. I don't think that they're great, you know? So, like, not having them in control of that means that it'll just be like the art, where the art is actually like decent for Hell of a Boss and such. I believe I pinned where I was at. Hussey is in control. Toby Fox is voicing Egbert. It's fine. Where is the show rev stuff section? There we go. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of pinned. Jump up to there. Oh my god. Yeah, we missed quite a few. What the fuck do you fucking mean? The characters are fucking great, goddammit. Fuck. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's kind of that really gets me about him. Because it's like, it's not a... I mean, I just kind of don't give a shit about any of the characters. I have a friend who's actually, like, against Digital Circus just because the voice actor for, what's his name? Angel Dust and Jax share a voice actor, and it's like, but like, why? Like, he worked on multiple projects. Are we going to be playing Noita today? Apparently not, no. Yeah, weird to name your lesbian vaggie. Sin by association is not valid, yeah. I mean, yeah, the fans for Has Been, I think, are definitely one of the worst parts, but it's just not a story I care about at all. So, this video was sent in, and they wanted me to watch it. It's 20 minutes. I don't know if we'll watch the whole thing. Let's just see what they say here.
Today on Remaking Super Mario World in Godot, Mario learns to swim and fly. I'm looking into the game's water and cape physics, with all their juicy details, and then recreating them in Godot. Hi there, I'm Y, and to teach myself game development, I'm remaking Super Mario World in the Godot engine. And
I think that's a good idea, master
look
copy.
Like the original game now. If you're ever not sure which one you're seeing, when it's got a Godot window behind it, it's mine. In the last video, I mostly explored the Godot side of things, like animation players and shaders. This time, I want to shift the focus back to the details of Super Mario World's physics. In particular, Mario's ability to swim in water and fly with the cape. Let's start with water, because if I want to get my feet wet in Godot, surely the best way to do that is to make some water physics. But enough of the puns, let's dive right in.
So before he talks about the water physics, I think what I would do is do a 2D area and just have that. What's the point of this project? So there's a concept of like behind doing art called a master study. I highly recommend it. If you really like someone's style or skill or whatever about the way they do art, like try and do it yourself. Like literally copy them stroke for stroke if you can. And you look at it and you're like, okay, so they put this there and that there. This is a master study, effectively. We've got a masterpiece of a game, Super Mario World. And just like, how was it made? Why did they do those things? Were they limitations or were they decisions? Sometimes it's the same thing.
Love it or hate it, water has been a part of Mario games since the very early days, so I'd better make sure my remake has proper water physics as well. But what does water physics actually mean? A lot of things all over the place. Number 1, Mario's maximum walking speed is lower.
A lot of this is probably easier to do if you know the game as well as this guy probably does.
Times in a row. Number 3, gravity is lower, so it takes longer to fall down. Number 4, there's not only a maximum speed for falling down, but also a new one for swimming up. Number 5, there are some things Mario can't do, like duck jumping, spin jumping, or sliding on slopes. Before I implement all of that, I'm gonna take the time and build an underwater tile set. It's not strictly needed, but it does set the right mood.
That helps.
Now, there are 2 ways for Mario to be in water. Either the whole level is an underwater level, or Mario's touching a water tile in an otherwise not underwater level.
Right.
Let's start with that first one because that seems much easier. All I need to do is add a flag to the level script that controls if it's a water level or not.
Okay.
I've had a function to check if Mario is in water since all the way back in part 1, but until now it did basically nothing.
Yeah.
It's time to finally give it some purpose, which is just to read that water level flag. Now I can use this to check whether Mario should use normal physics or water physics. And I've got 2 options here. Either make 2 versions of my physics script, one for normal, one for water, and check which one to use. Or
would Homestuck via Glitch Productions be better or worse? I have not seen them do 2D animation, and I don't think that Homestuck should be 3D animated. They do incredible work with 3D animation. I think that when you talk about indie 2D animators, it's kind of hard to ignore the fact that Hell of a Boss and Has Been Hotel exist. Like, who is a better 2D animated series? You know? Like, I'm just saying about like the quality of the animation. It is very solid. Titmouse? Okay, that's a good choice. I only know Titmouse from like, God, where do I know Titmouse from?
Or keep the one script and put the water check in multiple places. This is an age-old dilemma anytime you're organizing something.
The thing looks good.
What should be the top level? In this case, I think I'm gonna go with one script and multiple checks. Having 2 scripts could be done pretty neatly with resource files, but in the end, things like running and jumping make for a better top level than the fact that Mario's in water. But knowing this project, I'll probably have to come back later and do the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Now, let's actually code some physics. Water physics change number 1, walking. Walking mostly works the same, including acceleration and deceleration. The only difference is that the maximum possible speed is lower, so Mario can't walk as fast. That's easy enough. Check if Mario is underwater.
Look how many comments he's got in his code.
Value.
Titmouse did
land,
Venture Bros,
Mario
that
has
sounds
2
right.
different maximum speeds, one for walking,
That's not really
and
indie,
a higher one for when you
which is
hold
what
the
we're
run
talking
button.
about, right?
In water, the run button makes no difference. But now it makes a difference if Mario's touching the ground or not. His maximum speed is lower on the ground, so underwater, swimming is faster than walking.
Sure.
Another difference is deceleration. Like I said in part 1,
Mouse does a ton of
deceleration only applies
Adult
when
Swim
Mario's
shows, yeah.
touching the ground, so he doesn't slow down while he's in the air. But underwater, it always applies. So when you let go of the D-pad, Mario always comes to a stop, no matter if he's touching the ground or not. And that already feels a lot more watery. Water physics change number 2, swimming. Swimming is basically unlimited jumping that Mario can do even if he's not on the ground. But that's not all. There are 2 kinds of swims. For the initial swim, where Mario starts on the ground, his vertical speed is set to a fixed number, a little lower than his normal jumping speed. And any swim after that just adds on to whatever his speed currently is.
I think this is a video that I would be very interested to see how he picks it apart. But I don't know as if this is very interesting for stream to watch, so I'm going to go on to the next one. It is an interesting video, though. You got me on that one. This is from Strange Aeons. Painless Parker's Dental Circus. Okay. A menace to the dignity of the profession. Claimed to have pulled 357 necklaces in one day, which he wore as a necklace. Okay. Again, this is an hour of content.
Hello, friends, and welcome to another.
Might be a little too long. What was I gonna say? Yeah, but by cutting out there were 2 cars that I wanted to add to my game that I just don't think that I could. One of them is just going to be a lot of work to like put together, and you'll probably just run straight through it. The other one is like going to involve 3D animation, which I don't really know how to do all that well. And I don't really want to slow down the production of the game just to do that. So that is going to be if I still have time before the end of the month thing. That can be put back in if I want. I'd like to actually start doing some stuff like, you know, putting the levels like together rather than just doing the 3D stuff. You know, put some texture on it and stuff. And we'll probably do that next week. And then I need to do some coding for it as well. But like the 2 extra cars I don't think will matter.
Video. A few weeks ago, I saw this Tumblr post. Now, this is not a story about Tumblr. Not in the slightest. It's just that I get all
I think
of my
we
best
saw the
knowledge
Doom
from
bathroom
Tumblr.
video.
So
I don't think we
that's where
saw
this
her Grover
started. I came
House
across
one.
this post. In 1892, a Canadian dentist called Edgar Parker had a traveling dental show named Painless.
Well, I think, Lepa, your shader works a lot better if there are textures. If it's just a flat plane, it doesn't really do anything, right? But when you add the textures, you really see the posterization kick in, and it's like, ah. So that's all I'd really need to do to make it like go up that extra level. Also, hey Hito, thank you for the 49 months of support.
Parker's Dental Circus. He extracted teeth while a band played to drown out the patient's screams. Painless Parker, born Edgar R.R. Parker, was a Canadian-born street dentist, described as a menace to the dignity of the profession by the American Dental Association. Man, you could just do stuff back then, huh? At one point, he claimed to have pulled 357 teeth in one day, which he wore on a necklace. He legally changed his first name to Painless when he was accused of breaking a false advertisement law by claiming that his dentistry was truly painless. Can you even call yourself a con artist if you're not legally changing your name to avoid false advertising
That's
laws?
a choice.
Well, the time came that I needed to research some new video topics, and I went to Google Painless Parker's Dental Circus. But the first thing that came up as I typed Painless Parker into Google was Painless Parker Bucket of Teeth. electrifying. Painless Parker did indeed have a bucket of teeth, all of which he pulled.
Oh
which
man,
accompanied
they
him to
go
some of his street
deep
dentistry
too.
Shows. It now lives at the Historical Dental Museum at Temple University, along with that necklace of 357 human teeth, which is also real. Here is a picture of him cheerfully wearing it in a magazine interview he did shortly before his death in the 1950s. Parker wrote an autobiography in the 1940s, and he says in the introduction that it's an edited version of the journals he kept his entire life, so it's accurate.
It'll be a lot easier for me to do the texturing this time.
Something for his descendants to keep to learn about him. That may be why it was never published in his lifetime. It was actually published in the 90s by another dentist named Peter Pronick, who was obsessed with Parker. Just obsessed. Like, decades-long special interest was all things Painless Parker related. Pronick even made YouTube videos about Painless Parker. Some of them are basically summaries of Parker's life. Some of them are uploads of news interviews that Pronick did about his book. Some of these videos almost border on fan cams. So Painless Parker's autobiography was published by Pronick under the title The Early Adventures of Painless Parker. And there is an obvious question as to how true this thing actually is, because obviously there's a lot of embellishing and self-mythologizing on the part of Parker. And then there's the editing that was done to it in the 90s. The editors give us no insight into how creative that process was. So there's the question of how much does this text resemble the original text that Parker wrote? And then on top of that, there's the question of how much does the original text that Parker wrote resemble reality? Is this a good source? I do, as a scholar, have my doubts about that. But regardless, it is a really good story, and today we are here to enjoy it. But before we get into it, a word from this video's sponsor. Have you got a musty old mattress that smells weird and has terrible back support? Well, I don't. Thanks to this video's sponsor, Helix. Passion for chaos and capitalism, his parents wanted him to get an education. But academia really
interesting spot to click back to.
Did not agree with our young Painless.
Cat detective.
He couldn't stand having a structured...
Dude, my parents have this cat that's been showing up at their house, and I swear to God, it wants to be adopted by them. My mom has picked it up and held it. It likes to just like hang out with them and roll around on the ground and purr. Right? Free cat. I know. It just sleeps on their porch. They started feeding it, and now it's getting like heavier, you know? It's like getting some like chunk to it. It's not like starving or anything. My dad is being my dad about it. Now the thing is, this cat is super duper friendly, and so they're a little bit like, is this cat actually a stray, or is this cat someone's? It doesn't have the clipped ear that, like, so in America, I don't know how they do it elsewhere. In America, when the dog catchers and stuff catch a cat, they'll neuter it, they'll trim a piece of its ear off, and then they'll let it go. Because you can't really, like, take care of every cat that's out there that's wild, but at least you can stop them constantly breeding, you know? So, it still has its balls, and it doesn't have a clipped ear. Yeah, trim ear or give a little tattoo inside the ear. Not a huge fan of the trimming the ear thing. It's painless, I assume, but the vibe is wrong. Same with the tattoo. I would assume it's unconscious for this bit. The tattoo feels a little less fucked. He can be a stray and they can be friendly. What I'm saying is take the cat and put it in the house, right? And then wait for missing cat photos or, you know, posters to go up. And just be like, nah, I found your cat, sorry. Take it to the vet and have them scan for a microchip. See, here's the deal. Like, my dad has cancer, right? He's just diagnosed very recently. I'm thinking he's going to need to sit down sometimes. And you know what a cat does? Force you to stay seated. Or seated. Seated? Seated. I think that he should have a cat. Like, and this is like, this is not even me, like, saying that they should get a cat for my benefit. They should get a cat for their benefit because they don't have any pets right now. And, like, I don't know, like, you just, if you have cats in your house, it's sort of like having random fellas that just show up. Like, they'll just walk in and be like, hey, how's it going? And you can look at them and be like, hello, you're a little guy that lives in my house and sometimes ignores me. It's great. Cats are great. A tiny roommate, yeah. Yeah, I don't know, it's just like little sparks of joy throughout the day.
Schedule every day, being told what to do, what to think.
Anyway,
At 14,
my parents
his
should get a cat.
sent him off to boarding school.
It's a cute cat too. I don't have any pictures of it, but it's a Siamese, right? But it's definitely like a mixed breed because it's got like white socks. It's got like knee highs on the back and little like socks on the front. I'm just saying that's a cute ass fucking cat.
And that was a complete disaster. That's when he begins to conceive of himself as a true nonconformist, someone who will never fit into these tiny boxes that society is built to put people into. To escape
Yeah, I think
boarding school,
Herman's
he
part
fakes
Siamese.
insanity, some kind of mental breakdown. It's not quite clear, and even he admits he doesn't really know what that looks like. He just kind of starts running around and being incoherent, and he eats soap so that it looks like he's frothing. The students and teachers restrain him.
Yeah. Herman has, yeah, he has dog vibes in a lot of ways, but also he's like pretty sharp in a way that I feel like only Siamese are, where it's just like, I will remember this, but also he's a sweetheart. We picked up this dresser, right? There's this giant dresser downstairs. It's probably about like 5 foot tall and about like 4 foot wide. It's maybe a bit more. Maybe it's like a 5x5. It's huge. Herman likes to climb on it and like observe his domain. We did have to break them up this morning because he was looking down and Abby was like, wow, you're so cool. They were able to climb up on top of that dresser. That's so cool of you. And he was like, I could jump from the top rope here and absolutely body slam the shit out of you. And she's like, what? And I could see the gears turning, so I had to get up and stop him because like he was about to do it.
And take him to the school doctor, who says, yes, looks like insanity, and gives him laxatives and sends him home. After that, his parents try sending him to a Baptist seminary, which goes just as well as you would expect. He very quickly earns a reputation there for being a weird troublemaker and is expelled after 6 months for kidnapping a goat and letting it loose in the girls' dormitory. Not wanting to go home to face his disappointed parents, he runs away to a nearby town where he finds employment as a peddler, which basically means he travels from town to town,
selling shit,
horse and cart, and fills it up with essentials of the day, home goods,
When did
coffee,
this
sugar,
happen?
almanacs.
We
and
have color
basically
pictures
sells
of
that
him.
throughout rural villages. He excels wildly at peddling, and he has a great passion for it. He thinks he's a very gifted salesman, and he takes a lot of pride in that. I was so proud of having acquired a business of my own in only 3 short months that I decided to drive to St. John and show off my outfit to my father and mother. The peddler's outfit I drove up into the front of my parents' house in St. John was as showy as money could make it. I had bought a silver-mounted harness set with 2 black ostrich plumes waving from a special collar for my spirited black stallion. My wagon had been painted bright red with yellow stripes. On both sides of the wagon was my name lettered in gold. Edgar R. Parker. I wore a pearl gray hat with a tall crown and wide brim, a fancy green sequined vest, and fancier bright red silk tie. I had let my black hair grow long and sported a Van Dyke beard. Think of the picture I must have presented to my mother and father, and just imagine their surprise and reaction. This gaudily dressed horse peddler was a far cry from the son
Yeah, what the fuck are you wearing?
had sent to St. Martin's Seminary to become a Baptist minister. My mother was so glad to see me that she hugged and repeatedly kissed me and pretended not to notice my garish appearance. Father was dumbfounded and said nothing. With his mouth open, he gawked in astonishment. As my father appeared to regain his senses, he suddenly rushed out of the house, hopped into the wagon, and hastily drove it around the house into the barn. I could hear him muttering under his breath as he slammed the barn door. His father takes his wagon with all of the gaudy peddler's signs, paints over the signs, takes his horses, sells everything off for cheap, tells his
Oh, I'm not talking about her, I'm talking about
getting
him.
a real job right now. Painless is, after all, still 16. It's like when your teen comes home with green hair half shaved on the sides and an infected hand poke tattoo and says they're bisexual. Except the year is 1888, and he's like, "Father, behold my illustrious salesman attire," and his father's like, "No, what? This is a weird phase. Son.
Weird
Why
cringe,
can't you just be a
son.
Baptist minister
Yeah.
like your mother and I want?" Painless does the only logical thing in this situation, and he runs away to sea. He leaves the next morning, goes to the docks, gets a job as a deckhand, and sails out that
What
same
the
day.
fuck happened with your
His adventures at sea are
fucking
not
cart,
particularly
dude?
relevant to the overall story of his life, but my god, being a Victorian deckhand sounds so hazardous. It's actually a miracle that this man, boy, child is alive. He gets stranded in so
I'm doing
many
all right. How you
foreign
doing?
places due to injury or illness, and it's fine. He just hops on the next ship that'll
Ki-
employ him, and he just goes with
You could just do shit like this back in the day. You know? Like, you could just, like, decide to be a peddler. You could just be like, guy who shows up and sells you shit. You could be like, you know what? I don't feel like doing that anymore. And immediately get a job being on a boat. Like, what kind of fucking... Do I need a certification to be like be a longshoreman or whatever the fuck his job was here? Like, nowadays, I probably need a bachelor's to get that job. You know?
forever, all over the world. The chaos of this lifestyle does suit him. However, it is cut short when he eventually suffers a spinal injury that leaves him paralyzed. He's told he will probably never walk again. He is delivered home to New Brunswick to his parents in this state. He finds that his mother has converted to the Christian Science religion, which believes in faith healing.
Yeah, I mean, I think being like a DoorDash driver is kind of like being a peddler. Except for you have to, like... You can't just be a guy who delivers shit. You know? You have to be a guy who works for, like, Lyft or Uber or, you know, DoorDash.
He is subject to a lot of faith healing.
Delivery
in the coming
driver.
months,
Yeah, you have to
and he
work
does
for a
eventually
company. You
regain
don't
the
work for
ability to
yourself
walk,
as a delivery
but
driver.
He's skeptical that it was the faith healing that did the job. Due to this injury, he's probably never going to be able to live the rugged life of a seaman ever again. So, he's got to find something else that is going to satisfy his desire for chaos and money at the same time. I was now 17 years old and starting to feel much
He
like
did
my
this
former
at 16 and 17, man. Like, who's like, I'm gonna be a dentist at 17 and then just doesn't get any education and just becomes a fucking dentist?
The question of what I was going to do with my life came up in a family council meeting that summer. This time, Father made no effort to persuade me to become a minister. I suggested to my parents that I might become a physician. I had taken envious notice of the physicians I had seen in hospitals in Buenos Aires, Barbados, and St. John. I told my parents that it seemed to me that all doctors did was stroll around in white coats with great dignity and look important. It didn't appear they had to work very hard. They just looked scholarly and mysterious and prescribed salts. It looked like a good life. I knew I could look mysterious and all-knowing too if I had one of those white coats. My mother put her foot down in disapproval. She said, "Your mother is a sincere believer in Christian Science, Edgar, and such. We don't believe in medicine. I will have no son of mine become a doctor of medicine." Uncle John pondered a moment.
Oh, that wasn't a cool thing that he was becoming a doctor. I thought that would be like, okay, well, you're not a minister, but at least you're a doctor. You know, I thought that's where we were going with this, but no. Okay.
His magnificent whiskers. Then,
I forget,
as if
we're in
struck by
Victorian
inspiration,
era.
his face lit up. He said, "Why don't you have him phrenologized?" "What on earth is that?" asked my mother, taken aback. "Is it painful?" "Oh no," Uncle John reassured her. "Phrenology is a science which requires learned men to interpret the mental faculties and affections located in distinct parts of the brain, as denoted by prominences on the skull. By feeling the bumps on Edgar's head, they can tell you
Racism.
what Edgar is good for, what he can do best, and in what occupation and profession he will go farthest. I recommend you take him to Professor Fowler and Wells, the famous phrenologists." And that is exactly what they do.
Dude,
The
I saw like a
phrenologists
phrenology skull thing when we went to like thrift shopping. It was like that and like a mammy statue. And it's like, I don't want to buy anything at this thrift store. You know? Like,
There's that based on the shape of his skull, Edgar is meant to be a dentist. This seems like a good compromise to him. It seems like something that would come with a lot of the same perks as being a doctor. However, because it's not quite a doctor, his mother doesn't disapprove. He is subsequently enrolled in the New York College of Dentistry.
oh, okay, he
needs
actually
some
went to
way
school.
financially support himself while he's alone in New York City. Just as soon as he learns new dentistry techniques in class, you know, he's a new undergrad student of dentistry. As soon as he learns new stuff, he immediately takes it to the streets, selling himself door to door as a dentist, just as he sold almanacs a year earlier. When I had learned to
I would
fill
love a
teeth, I
tattoo
carried
of a
little
skull.
dental hand drilling
That would be
kit
pretty cool.
and made the rounds, filling,
like
cleaning, and
skulls.
extracting teeth in the kitchens and living rooms of people's homes. While other boys were out studying, I was out getting enough to eat via door-to-door dentistry. I'd put my foot in a door and give a spiel patterned on the one I gave as a peddler. If my sales pitch sold some dentistry, I'd start with the cook's teeth. If I didn't kill the cook, and I was lucky, I'd eventually wind up working on the teeth of the lady of the house. Before the college year was out, I had opened my own office on the second floor at 17th and Broadway in New York City. It was 1890, and I was 18 years old. I placed a sign outside the building entrance. It read Edgar Randolph Parker in large letters and had a picture of a tooth beside my name. He is immediately expelled from the New York College of Dentistry.
No shit.
How many times had I heard that dreadful word, expelled, before? For, you know, being an undergrad student LARPing as a real dentist.
Cat. Is it a sphinx?
Sure, maybe people in the dental scene in New York City know what he's been doing, but you know where they don't? Rural
I
New
think it is.
Brunswick, where he grew up, so that's exactly where he goes and continues his life as a traveling dentist there that summer. This is a community that really hasn't seen many dentists. Sure, he was not a real dentist, but most people doing dental work at the time weren't either, especially in rural areas. If you had a rotting tooth, which was pretty common at the time and could even kill you, it was probably getting yanked out at home or by your barber, or maybe if you were lucky, a medical doctor who came into town. A professional who specialized in teeth was a great rarity at the time. Over the summer, he saves up enough money to go back to dental school and get his degree. At a different school this time, obviously, and he vows that this time around, he won't get caught for practicing dentistry outside of school.
Oh,
attends
he won't get
Philadelphia
caught.
Dental
I thought he
College
would
and
just not
Hospital
do
of
it.
Oral
That's fine,
Surgery,
too.
Which is today the School of Dentistry at Temple University, which they have a big exhibit dedicated to Painless Parker. They love him now, but at the time, he fails to graduate. But our hero, he doesn't accept this, okay? He hears that he failed, that they're not going to give him a dental degree, and he just says, I don't really feel like that's true, you know? Like, I know
don't know
did
what
bad
Lyco Cat
on my
is, no.
exams, but I think passed, okay? I totally didn't fail. I held the dean in high esteem and felt I would receive a fair hearing from him. I, the 20-year-old kid from the backwoods of New Brunswick, only 5 feet 6 inches tall, small and dynamic, decided that I would confront the dean, an impressive 6 foot 3 inch man considered to be the greatest oral surgeon in the world. I found Dr. Garrison peacefully spading in his garden. I started out angrily but cautiously. With great restraint and emotion in my voice, I said, "I'm surprised and disappointed not to be graduating." To which the dean quietly replied, "You really didn't expect to, did you?" I sarcastically shot back, "One doesn't get fat on expectations." The dean responded softly and gently, "You have missed some of my lectures, and that's inexcusable." Calming down somewhat, I went on to build my case. "Doctor, let me tell you the story of my life. It's been an uphill struggle all the way. As a teenager, I went to sea, which is a tough life even for a grown man. I came back from one trip all crippled. It's lucky I can still walk. For years, I've been earning my own way, peddling goods from house to house. The dean lets him graduate out of pity. All right, I'll take
I feel like if I met anyone born before 2000, I would destroy them violently. Twinkmaster. Come at me, bro. 1988.
On you. As long as you agree to never disgrace this college. At the spry age of 20, Parker is finally ready to become the respectable, dignified dentist that college taught him to be.
These guys. Yeah, I've seen these cats before.
Dental surgery, I was supposed to live up and dress up to the title. To make me appear taller, I had purchased a braid-trimmed cutaway coat with striped trousers and a flowered vest. I wore a tall silk hat and a box overcoat with silk lapels. Some dude, eh? Passages that immediately make you Google the etymology of dude. Okay. Dude is American slang for an individual, typically male, from the 1870s to 1960s. Dude primarily meant a male person who dressed in an extremely fashionable manner. Dude may have derived from the 18th century word doodle, as in Yankee Doodle Dandy. In the popular press of the 1880s and 1890s, dude was a new word for dandy, an extremely well-dressed
male. Do you expect to win,
Twinkmaster? A man who assigned particular importance to his appearance. This meaning of the word, though rarely consciously known today, remains occasionally in some American slang, as in the phrase all duded up for getting dressed in fancy clothes.
No one says that.
All duded up, Parker decides that he's going to start his first dental practice in his hometown of St. Martin's, New Brunswick. Like I said before, this is obviously an underserved community. He is providing that service. However, it's also a place where he's just less likely to get caught for not quite doing things right. It was taught to him in dental school that being a real professional meant following a certain code.
Well, I mean, that's
Dentists
how fights work. Generally, both people lose.
It was improper to solicit customers for your dental practice. No advertising, no going door to door, nothing. The only way that you were to promote yourself as the new local dentist was by joining clubs and kind of putting yourself out there socially. Now, St. Martin's is too small to really have any clubs. The only public gathering
dentist clubs?
Everyone in the town
oh no, you just go to a regular
church.
club.
I began to attend church twice each Sunday. I thought my regular
This is like what you do to scam people, man. Like, I remember, like, I went to a thing to get a job. It's like a job fair. And the way that, like, they suggest that you do that is, if you're gonna be an insurance salesman, you start going to, like, church. And then you talk to the people in, like, the parish hall afterwards. And be like, yeah, man, I, you know, what do you do for a living? Oh, you're retired. That's awesome. That's cool. I work in insurance. And then you gain their trust because you're a guy who goes to their church. And then you sell them insurance. This is like textbook scam shit. Classic peddler of things.
Good enough. So I sat in the Moran pew. They're like some relatives of his mother, I think. Because the Morans were considered to be the blue bloods of the town. Their pew was located in the front of the church. I wore my very best clothes and carried the biggest Bible ever taken into the Baptist church in St. Martin's. In fact, the Parker family Bible weighed in at 15 pounds. I must have presented the funniest looking sight imaginable. I was thin as a whip and only 5 feet 6 inches tall. The minister would stop speaking whenever I came into the church, dragging the huge family Bible under my arm. He would stare. dumbfounded at me. I volunteered for all of the chores in the church, including passing the collection plate, and sang the hymns louder than anyone else in the choir. I even assisted with the services and taught Sunday school. I did everything to make them think I was an ideal citizen in the community. You see, I was determined to be ethical at all costs. Oh yes. Just wait until he decides to dedicate that level of energy to being unethical. The whole being the weirdest guy in church thing, it's,
Yeah.
doesn't really work as a promotional strategy. He gets 0 customers, 0 money. He blames this on the lack of knowledge and education around dental care at the time. Everyone's kind of ignorant and afraid of dental care at the time because they think it's just getting your rotting teeth painfully yanked out by barbers. They just have the wrong idea of it. They're just...
Yeah, that's true. Barbers used to be the people that did that. That's why you have the barber shop pull, is that's meant to represent, like, the fact that they do blood stuff. I forget exactly how it works. Barber shop poll. All right. Have you ever wondered why there's a history of the barbershop pull? This is upper to legs, this is blah, blah, blah. Hundreds of years ago, they didn't just trim beards. They also worked as dentists and surgeons, providing their services to poorer people who could not afford to see a physician. If you were unlucky enough, I don't give a shit. Yeah, if you had that kind of illness, you would go to a barber. The red and white stripes originated from the practice known as bloodletting, one of the nastier aspects of barber history. This practice involved drawing blood from the patient in an attempt to cure them of disease or infection. Luckily, thanks to the progression of modern medicine, we now know that draining blood from a sick person probably wasn't the best idea. There are some times where it actually is. If you have too much iron in your blood, then you should get rid of your blood with doctor's help. You don't solve the common cold with bloodletting. It kind of makes a little bit of sense. You got diseases in your blood. Well, let's take the blood out. You know? That kind of makes sense when you think about it. Modern barber poles have a blue stripe, American flag, tribute, differentiate barbers from doctors as they, you know, changed into different things. But yeah, that's what barber shop poles are.
They're just not ready for this entrepreneurial young dentist in town. But also, like, someone stole the sign, the, like, Edgar Parker dentist sign off of his building.
Our ancestors were trying their best, but God, they're dumb. Yeah, no, we, people are going to say that about us, too. I don't know what we're doing that's stupid, but I know we're doing some stupid shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they used to use asbestos in fucking everything. What is our asbestos? Is it plastic? Forever chemicals? Some shit we don't know? Like, it's gonna be something that we don't know. Because, like, they weren't putting asbestos in the walls being like, well, it's kind of bad, but fuck it. You know? I think they were down with the idea. I think they were like, yeah, this shit doesn't catch fire. It's great. Right now we're doing stupid shit, but we know it's stupid. Have you seen how much of your food ingredients are illegal in other countries? Can I point out that since we started going functionally vegan, I've lost so much fucking weight and I feel so much healthier. And I think it's because I'm not eating as much processed shit. You know? Like, we just don't, like, buy processed food anymore. Like, my wife just cooks everything from scratch because we use what we garden. Like, there's definitely some shit we eat in America that we should not be eating. What? I don't know. Also, no more car. Yeah, me having to walk everywhere also does that. My bet is on food preservatives are going to turn out to be turbo. Yeah. How much food do you get from gardening? Right now? Not much. We're working on it. We kind of fucking failed. Perfectly doing it. Jolly Ranchers are banned over here. I have never eaten a Jolly Rancher that didn't involve part of the like plastic wrapper because it always gets stuck. I told a friend about what happened when you moved to Maine since they went to New England probably, and they jokingly said that you are likely going to be nudist next. Yeah, no, not too much.
And put it on the outhouse of the local train station. So I think that's a pretty clear message.
I mean, I'm now wearing shorts.
Personally didn't like him. I don't think he gained their trust by being the weirdest guy in church. But that's just my interpretation.
How many nudist streamers do you think there are? Like, not that many. You get banned pretty fast for that shit.
Sorry if I'm taking some liberties. He decided to go with the ignorance and fear explanation. So he thought to himself, if I can remove the pain and fear that people have for the dentistry process, then maybe.
Jolly Ranchers feels like
perhaps
cursed hard candy, you know? Like, if I never eat another Jolly Rancher, I'm probably going to be fine. Like, I'm pretty chill with that. Heard it's a thing on porn sites? I mean, yeah, that makes more sense. Having your dick out or your tits out makes sense if you're on a porn site. Rock candy at least is like somewhat enjoyable. It's like, this shouldn't be edible, but it is. That's fun.
I can convince people to give me money for it. I recalled reading some scientific papers about a new drug which could kill pain. It was so simple that I was flabbergasted that nobody was using it. The drug was called cocaine, and it was used as a hypodermic injection into the gum tissue. I located the recently published paper on practical anesthetics by Dr. W.
Good.
Walker. This paper presented the advantages of using local anesthetics and gave a formula for a reliable aqueous solution of cocaine for hypodermic use. I took the paper to my druggist friend, George Mallory, and asked him if he could make up a solution for me. We put the concoction.
You can be, listen, Swingmaster, you can be weird in a capitalist society as long as you have to buy the things to be weird. We don't really have like subcultures anymore. We just sort of have like vibes or aesthetics. Because to have a subculture, you also, aside from like your look, you also have to have like a thing you go do with other people. And that's why we don't really have like freaks anymore, you know? You just like aesthetically look like a freak, but you can buy an aesthetic. If I want to like be full on goth or something, like I could just like buy a goth outfit and now I'm goth, you know? If I want to be like, I don't know, whatever. The gums thing is to make it less visible. I mean, it just, I feel like that would hurt a lot. But I've never done cocaine. It's all like alternative, like it's style, but it's not like a culture. You know? Like, I'm not saying that we're posers now. I'm just saying that, like, yeah, I mean, I guess we kind of are, you know? A lot of people kind of are, I guess. I didn't really think about it that way, but we got the looks, but we don't really have, like, the culture. We don't have, like, a thing we go do. You know? Counterculture is way underground nowadays, it seems. And part of that, I think, is as well, is that, like, it's hard for us to... Yeah, goth culture is, like, more of, like, enjoying the music. And, like, I like some of the music, but I don't like... really enjoyed Depeche Mode, I guess. Like, we don't have a fit for some of the vibes that we've got out there. Is torrenting movies counterculture? I think that's just normal culture now. You know? Some Depeche Mode is alright. I don't like a lot of goth music because it just sounds like a very confused British person who's wandered up on stage while a band plays instruments, sort of. You know what I mean? Like, the guy's a little bit hungover or maybe drunk, and he is just kind of like, what am I doing here? That kind of thing. It's not my vibe. But then you get into stuff like Calabrese. That shit's great. That shit's awesome, man. But that's like goth punk.
Brewed up by Mallory into a crude horse syringe and injected an amount recommended
Horse
for a
syringe.
human into a dog called Toby to see if the dosage would kill him. Toby didn't bark or bite and showed no ill effects, so we concluded that humans could survive too. I decided to call the cocaine mixture hydrocaine.
Yeah, goth started as a post-punk movement, and a lot of people don't fucking really get that. Like, the fact that the idea is that it still has its roots in punk, and then people will wear like fashy stuff. Just like, the fuck?
I then injected a dose into Mallory's gums, and he injected some into mine. Other than a certain numbness in the gums, we suffered no ill effects. We went on to make incisions into our own gums, where we had injected the solution, and we couldn't feel any sensation. In true scientific fashion, we had acted as our own guinea pigs. I know this sounds insane, but self-experimentation actually was common and respected scientific practice at the time. But how is he going to get the word out about how he wants to inject the townspeople's gums with cocaine? One day, while sitting in his office,
I mean, it's good to know that he knows how this works. I think that shooting up cocaine in your gums is probably not one of the best decisions that's ever been done.
Empty office with no patients. He looks out the window and he sees a Salvation Army band marching down the street, and he thinks to himself, why is it all right for them to go marching down the street making a bunch of noise with a band to fundraise for a religious cause? Is religion not, after all, the most pure and noble cause there is? So why would it be wrong for me to want to go out there and spread the good word about cocaine? I mean, dentistry. He voices this idea in casual conversation one day to his uncle, who passionately shuts it down, says, absolutely not. You cannot do such an absurd thing. You will be immediately ostracized by the entire institution of dentistry. Everyone will hate you and think you suck. But we know how our boy Painless feels about
he doesn't give a
being
shit.
put in a tiny conventional box. One day, while he's sitting in church,
This guy was a
as he
fucking
does so often
problem.
these days,
I love
listening to the
him.
preacher go on and on about the fires of hell, terrifying the audience into submission, Parker can't help but be inspired. I decided to combine my dental skills with the knowledge of salesmanship and customer psychology I had gained as a traveling salesman. So I wrote a sermon about the horrifying bonfire awaiting laggards who neglected their teeth.
What?
I memorized and rehearsed the speech, so I could talk for 25 minutes without stopping. I reasoned that if I could get a congregation to speak to, I could get some business. But he doesn't want to risk his reputation in St. Martin's right away, so he goes to the neighboring town to test this out. He promises his listeners that thanks to his new invention, hydrocaine, all tooth extractions are guaranteed to be painless. And if they're not painless, he'll pay you. That's right, he'll pay you $5 whole. He doesn't.
That's a lot of
have
money back then.
$5, by the way. He's just saying this. Step right up and let me rip out your teeth here on this street corner. And if you feel it, I'll pay you. He's lying, but the rhetoric works. People do it. I took 33 teeth out of 12 patients and nobody screamed. Why? I'll never know. I had run out of hydrocaine on the 7th patient. What had made me
What the fuck?
respectful Edgar Randolph Parker Doctor of dental surgery, take the fateful plunge and become a traveling advertising dentist. Perhaps it was the sour looks my father had given me for my lack of success and my hired hand appetite. Possibly it was the feeling that if a man of the cloth could sell the idea of hell with no actual hell to show the people, then I could sell the idea of care of the teeth. 90% of the time, a dentist is nothing more than a mechanic. When he pretends otherwise, he is hoodwinking his patients. Ethical dentists are especially interested in window dressing. They love elaborately furnished offices in fashionable medical buildings. These white-clad men of science preside like high priests over their ornate chambers. Parker argues that the dignity, the ethics, the respectability, all
I really didn't intend on watching this whole thing, but I love him.
Are ultimately keeping this service from the masses. The type of dentistry that he was taught to provide in school is sort of a luxury of the rich. If someone only has 25 cents in their pocket, are they going to risk living in pain and possibly dying from an infected tooth? Are they gonna take grandma out in the shed in the back with the rusty pliers? Or are they gonna go to some guy in a weird outfit who only failed dental school a little bit? He was filling a need that existed and meeting people where they were. Was he a great humanitarian for it? Also, no.
Okay. You know what I was just reminded of? I remember hearing about someone who was... And I don't remember the whole story, so like... So in America, shit sucks, right? And getting access to certain medications, specifically, you know, the medications that trans your gender, hard, for some people. And I heard about this person who was like making it themselves and selling it. And I kind of feel like it's a similar vibe. Because the only people who would actually like hit up a DIY like HRT person is probably someone who can't get it regularly because the system sucks ass. I'm not saying I'm endorsing that. I'm just saying like DIY HRT is common. That's low-key horrifying. It turns out that people are going to be trans regardless of whether or not you let them be trans or not. So you might as well just let them do the thing. It's rather common. Can I run a poll real quick? Do you DIY your transing? Yeah. Yes? No. Obviously, only if you're trans, but that's like a weirdly high percentage of chat. I mean, like, I could imagine myself being in that. Do you think I have access to HRT in fucking Iraq? I mean, no. There is a Brazilian supplier that puts anime femboys in the boxes. I mean, like, that's what the people want. Yeah, some people don't want HRT in the first place. It's just like, if gender is just a fucking social construct, then do you need a dick to be a man? Do you need to have testosterone to be a man? There's some guys that, like, born with a dick, low amount of, like, testosterone, but no one is like, you're not a man. So do you need meds? I think that's for an individual to come up with. But it is fucking insane to me that, like... Why don't we just let people have the fucking meds, man? if I could reduce suicide rates in an entire population, even if that's only like 1% of the population at most, by giving them drugs? Like, I take antidepressants. How's that fucking different? My brain chemistry's fucked. I know it's because people are assholes. I'm preaching to the choir. I know this.
His main motivation was always money and not the quality of his work. $1 put in the bank.
I guess what I'm saying is I'm ignorant to a lot of what it means to be trans or gay or whatever because I'm not. But 75% of chat says no, they do not use DIY methods to trans their genders. Meaning 25% of people do. And a lot of people, I bet, were not comfortable with that poll, and I apologize for that one. But that is just... I mean, I accept DIY. I accept DIY as a necessary thing that exists. DIY just means not given by a doctor. Okay, that's less scary. I thought you were like Walter Whiting it in the bathroom or some shit. You know? It's not like they're brewing it like moonshine. Legitimately where I thought we were. So if we're not at that point, then okay. That's better. I thought people were legitimately like Walter Whiting it, and I'm like, I mean, if you gotta, it's usually ordered online. As someone who's taken like un-FDA regulated weed before, I can't really be saying that, like, you know, you shouldn't be taking AHRT that you get on the internet, you know? I wonder if you... I do not know chemistry at all. I did not take chemistry classes. Chemistry is literally just alchemy to me. I do not know how shit works.
For fixing a poor man's teeth is just as good as $1 banked for fixing a rich man's teeth.
It's not illegal to do weed in Maine. And it wasn't illegal in Texas while I was there. It changed as soon as I left, but, you know, I can't be judgy about that shit.
Work is said to be, you're not going to believe this, bad. But, you know, probably a step up from what people were otherwise gonna get, seeking more patience and, of course, adventure.
I took my weed rights with me.
An old school friend of his named Jack, and they're gonna go west. You know how people in the 1800s love to go west. They have no money, but that's fine. They'll make it along the way. Parker's gonna do dentistry. His friend Jack is gonna sort of act as his hype man. It's gonna be great. Their destination, Montreal. So they get on the Canadian Pacific Railway. They stop in various
also the
small
amount
towns
that he
along the
travels
way,
is
doing
wild
the
to me.
door-to-door
I have
dentistry
been
thing,
as
and
far
they
west as like New Mexico. What is this video about? A guy who changed his name to Painless so that way he would avoid being in trouble for saying that he was a painless dentist when he was, more accurately, some guy who didn't pass dental school and just went around asking people, hey, do you want me to take your tooth out for you?
actually make a lot of money doing that. The problem is, they've got a talent for spending it as well. He tells this one story about how they had bought a ton of alcohol on one of their train stops, and then they get back on the train and they share the alcohol with their besties, the train crew, who then get so drunk that he and Jack have to drive the fucking train. I put out the lanterns and did the other necessary chores in the caboose, while Jack did the honors with the engine, more or less under the direction of the inebriated
I've never
engineer.
left my city. That is
we would go off the
wild to me,
tracks any
Twink.
moment. Eventually, the crew sobered up enough to take the train into Montreal station. We
I've
got
never
to
been out of the
Montreal
country.
On Sunday, September 26th.
That's the kind of shit you
and
do
put
if
up
you
at
have
the
money.
Windsor Hotel, one of the finest in the city. Jack and I lived like kings. Unfortunately,
This is
for
also
them,
a
they
personal account of a man who wears a tooth necklace. So, like, you know,
In Montreal, he's going to need a license to practice dentistry. Well, not just in Montreal, in the entire province of Quebec, actually. It's just that he's the most likely to be caught in a bigger city. And he doesn't have time to get a license. That would mean spending time there, passing a test. How dare they unfairly discriminate against an entrepreneurial traveling dentist such as himself?
yeah, he may be lying. He may be lying. Like, he may be lying that he drove a train once. Because that makes it look cool.
Okay? How dare they try and make him take a test to prove he's what? Competent? One dentist even told me you'd better get out of Montreal and find some other place where dentistry isn't so well organized. He's spent now all of his money on the most expensive hotel in the city, so he takes a train out to a smaller city and continues practicing unlicensed dentistry there. He gets caught after a few days and has to flee. And this is going to be the pattern of his life for the next little while, because guess what? Ontario requires a license to practice dentistry as well. So everywhere he goes, he makes a big scene advertising his dentistry services, and all the local dentists go, wait, who the heck is this guy? I don't think he has a license. And then the local sheriff sometimes quite literally chases him out of town. He learns that he can only stay in one place for about a day or two, so that nobody has time to catch on to what he's doing. After wandering all over Canada and the US doing this, at some point he parted ways with Jack as well. He winds up trying to settle in Victoria, British Columbia, where he opens an office. The stranger asked, "Are you Dr. Parker?" I politely answered, "Most assuredly, sir." He said that within a few hours he was going out on a sealing trip to the Bering Sea and begged me to fix his teeth immediately before he went, as he was suffering such misery. The only humanitarian thing to do was to accommodate the stranger, and I set to work upon him. I couldn't find anything seriously wrong with the stranger's teeth and told him so. The stranger continued to insist pathetically that he was in a great deal of pain. Although I became a little suspicious, I carried on with treatment. I cleaned his teeth with a scaler, hoping that it would bring relief. The stranger got out of the chair all smiles, thanked me, and said the pain was gone. I was somewhat perplexed by that reaction. I felt that I hadn't really done very much, certainly nothing which could have relieved a pain as terrible as the stranger was complaining about. The seaman appeared grateful as he handed me a $5 bill. I took it and stuffed it in my pocket. Then, the stranger suddenly flashed a badge and told me I was under arrest. He told me with a certain amount of self-satisfaction that he was a spotter for the Dental Association.
What the
and had been
fuck?
hired by a Dr. T.J. Jones to get me for practicing without a license. He stated that Dr. Jones was the secretary of the Dental Association. I had been set up again. Well, our hero is not going to tolerate that. So he goes and stands outside of the offices of this Dr. T.J. Jones and uses his amazing...
The fucking balls on that cop. Can we just, like, real quickly, I don't know if appreciate is the right word, but, like, he was like, so there's a guy practicing illegal dentistry. I've got an idea. I'll pose as a longshoreman that's about to go on leave, and I want him to look at my teeth. He's known best for, like, pulling out people's teeth, but, you know, hopefully he won't do that, so it'll be fine.
Speaking skills to give this speech about what a dirty slanderer Jones is, trying to take down this new dentist, this innocent new young dentist in town. He says that he swayed public opinion to his side and that Jones and his hired goon never showed up.
I need to
in
watch
court
Wolf of
testify
Wall
against
Street
him,
at some
so
point.
the case wound up being thrown out. He practices dentistry in his respectable office in Victoria for about a year, and this time he's actually successful. He gets patients, but he finds it boring. There's no unpredictability to it, and he needs a little bit of that in his life, so he eventually returns to his wandering and advertising ways. He meets all kinds of interesting figures who make an impression on him. Salespeople and performers, and especially this one magician doctor type guy by the name of William True, who he teams up with for a while. The idea of combining sales and theatrics and medicine and sometimes even elements of the occult into these traveling shows was not new. Even before Parker's time in the mid-1800s, you could see laughing gas shows on the streets of New York City, or even in some of P.T. Barnum's own shows. You know how, like, the online health and wellness industry is a total shit show right now? You got people saying, well, my essential oils can cure cancer. My special raw vegan diet can cure your diabetes. And did you know that eating soy products feminizes the men? And everyone's selling something, and everyone's invented some new supplement that's gonna cure all of your ailments for the low, low price of...
To be clear, when I say that, like, my vegan diet is working for me, it's working for me. I don't recommend it to anyone because, like, I don't know how the fuck you do that shit without, like, you know, I don't know, having a wife that is really into cooking. Abby, are you saying things to me? Them some fighting words, girl. What you got? What you got? Yeah? Yeah? Uh-huh. Okay. Would you mind entertaining chat for a minute? That's a very tiny moo. Most people cook. Not Americans. Americans do not cook. All right. Here's what I'm going to do. Lean this down. And then the cats will wander about. And you will see them. Give me a... I really wish that soy could replace HRT. That would be fucking great. Zakate, thank you for the 48 months of support. Here's a minute 30. I'll be right back. Abby, tell them things. Abby, you're in charge while I'm gone. Abby, what are you doing out here? They're not in here. They can't see you here. I see that Abby left you all almost immediately. I opened the door to the bathroom. She was out there being like, and it's like, Abby, no, you have to like, I went downstairs to get some coffee. And while I was down there, she was like, oh, thank you for putting food in my bowl. And I'm like, didn't, but okay.
$59.99 a month. Yeah, it was sort of in the spirit of that, except
BetterHelp?
with more top hats. And instead of screaming at you,
Honestly, I feel like BetterHelp would be a lot better of a service if they all wore top hats. Like, yeah, they're not helping you with your mental illness, but you get to stare at a guy in a stupid fucking outfit for an hour. That's something. I don't know as if that helps, but it's better, right?
from the phone, they were screaming at you on the street in real life, and sometimes the product was cocaine. So Parker briefly combines his dentistry show with the traveling medical show of this other guy, William.
Where am I going to get a bikini for my chair? What size is it? I mean, BetterHelp is legitimately just unlicensed people. BetterHelp would be better service if they didn't make people with anxiety have a hard time canceling a rolling subscription. Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah. When I was working, I bring this up every time that we talk about BetterHelp, but when I was working with Screenwave, they approached me with a deal from BetterHelp, and I'm like, I don't know about this shit, man. I was like, I don't know how good their service is. I haven't used it myself. I'm not going to recommend that people get mental health treatment from someone that I don't necessarily trust or understand. You know? My vibe check was not passed there. And it turns out I was right, but, you know. I can definitely see, like, as a creator, I have not seen any movies this year, aside from K-pop. Demon Hunters. Oh yeah, BetterHelp is still a thing for some reason. I don't know how they still have a like fucking business model after being proven that they're like kind of a fucking scam. Like, you are not getting the attention of a professional. You're getting some person.
True, and they have this magic medical dentistry nonsense show that they take.
They also got in
all
trouble
over
for
the
selling
Victorian
patient
Wild
data.
West.
Cool,
However,
that's a
they
HIPAA
eventually part ways
violation.
because True wants to retire to his ranch in Alberta, leaving Parker all alone.
Who's going to sue him? Someone with money, which is not the kind of person who uses BetterHelp. People who use BetterHelp are probably people who don't have the, like, money or availability to go to an actual doctor. You can't violate HIPAA if you're not a real licensed therapist. There's a little hack for you.
Once again, in fucking Alberta of all places. I must have presented a sight as I started on my journey into the Canadian wilderness.
Yeah, BetterHelp is Fiverr for psychology.
Short, broad-shouldered, and darkly handsome. I wore my venerable, bullet-ridden top hat, frock coat,
but it's
and
not necessarily
trousers
cheap either.
Stuffed into high boots. My long brown hair hung in the back, past my collar, below my heavy-browed glance, described by men as malevolent, by ladies as intimate or smoldering. I wore the Van Dyke mustache and beard that would distinguish me until the day of my death. My brightly painted red wagon stood out like fire among the trees, lest anyone should fail to notice who was passing. On its sides were painted 2 large signs proclaiming, "Painless Parker, Doctor of Dental Surgery." Standing one day on my wagon in front of the livery stable in a small town of High River, Alberta, I blew my bugle until a good-sized crowd had gathered.
And
Ladies
yeah,
and
and then
gents,
the
I
but
bellowed
worst
out in
part.
frustration. You see before you a poor, plain, honest, itinerant tooth hoister, hounded like a criminal by the ethical dentists to this godless wilderness. And what for? Because I dared to cut prices and advertise? At that moment, a pistol shot from the back row lifted my top hat from my head. That was bullet hole number 3. "I'm Parson J.B. Towers," shouted the marksman, waving a huge shooting iron, "and I don't aim to hear this fair territory called godless by little runts in the pay of Satan." With that, the reverend gentleman let go again. "Naturally, sir," I exclaimed loudly, scrambling down onto the wagon seat and whipping up my horse. An inexcusable blunder on my part. After a full 2 years away from home.
Yep, he's like, nah, never mind, I'm leaving.
He returns to St. Martin's, New Brunswick, and decides that he's going to put on the biggest dental show that this town has ever seen. He hires a sword swallower, a bearded lady, exotic Eastern dancers, you know, all the hits of the Victorian circus. All of these performers would take the stage, he says, while I, the painless dentist, preached tooth care sermons from podiums lit by gas lamps. He takes his troupe on tours all over Eastern Canada and the United States, but after a couple of months, he's growing restless yet again. In the spring, at the tender age
I
of
don't
23,
trust like mental
I took
health
stock of my
services
life.
that
I was already a
are
seasoned veteran of the road,
from
but I was
your
rapidly tiring
employer.
of country tooth pulling, of visiting endless
Painless
strings of
Parker
villages
did not
and small
give a
towns,
shit,
of open-air
man.
dental and medicine stage shows, of trying to keep one step ahead of the law, and above all, tired of the rubes. I needed a break. There is also the money thing.
Tax
because
lowering shots are not
he is good at making
allowed.
money, but he's also very bad at keeping it. The overhead expenses of my traveling snake oil and dentistry shows were excessive and frequently out of control. I checked my left pocket and found I was almost flat broke. My banking procedures
Like
at
the only thing I can think of that is remotely similar to this nowadays, where they just like decide they're gonna do a thing, is like I remember hearing about this woman who pretended to be a like wealthy socialite, and so she just like would go, hey, well, you know, I need a loan for this such and such right now, do you mind fronting it? I'm like rich, so like I don't really need that much, but like $1 million, you know, like what's $1 million between friends? And they'd give it to her. Is that her name? What a wild fucking story that is. She got in trouble for it because, yeah, it turns out you can't just scam people out of money. But I fucking love that for her. That's the closest I can think of anyone doing something like this nowadays, you know? Just being like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm rich. Like a confidence person, but they're kind of not, but they are. Because, like, she was rich. She just took all of it. I mean, yeah, scamming the rich is...
time were simple but effective.
Poor people can't
At the
really
end of
do
each
crime
day,
nowadays.
put all
I
of
think
my
they
earnings into
have
my
to do
right hip
crimes.
pocket and transferred what remained after expenses were paid to my left pocket. An empty left pocket indicated that a fiscal crisis was imminent. Around this time, he goes back to New York City to help out his father, who is now living there and has some crisis with a failing business of his. It really does run in the family, Jesus. Parker gets a well-paying job as a dental assistant and is able to use that money to help support his parents, as well as to help put his younger brother through dental school. But sometimes, sometimes he gets that urge, that itch, and on weekends, he'll take the train.
Is it really scamming if it targets the rich? If someone breaks into your house and steals your PlayStation, and then you break into their house and steal it back, should you be prosecuted for theft? Like, there are legal avenues that you could have gone through to do it instead. And, like, legally speaking, you both committed theft. But, like, morally, is that theft? To break into someone's house and steal back your shit. No, I don't think that the cops would help me. I'm just saying, as a hypothetical, is that ethical to do? Because, like, I think that makes ethical sense to do, right? Morality has nothing to do with legality. Right, exactly. I'm not talking about the legality of it. I'm talking about the morality of it. Is it okay to do that? Is it ethical to break and enter to someone's house in order to get your shit back? Because if so, it follows that if you do not have money, but your boss, who does nothing, does, somehow your money has been taken from you, right? Like, if you have someone who does nothing and gets paid, and you do all of the work, is that... fair? Like, Jeff Bezos has $1 bazillion, right? This is probably not the service to use to have this comment, but how is it that some Amazon delivery drivers pee in bottles and sleep in cars? I am definitely preaching to the choir. I'm not refuting your point. I'm just sort of explaining it. I think that there is like a through line there. What has Jeff Bezos done that is worth more than, like, if Jeff Bezos takes a few days off to go have a wedding in France or whatever the fuck he just did, does the company run normally? Yes. It's fine without him for like a while, right? But if like Todd from the distribution center doesn't show up for his shift, does that fuck things up for other people? Like, does the company run worse if a person doesn't show up to their shift at the distribution center? Like, I think that a day without one of those people What is your opinion on family and clans and how they're basically the government of most of Asia? I do not know enough about that. That seems like a bad thing, but I don't know enough about that to have a real take on it.
To a small nearby town and, well, you know. One summer, Parker decides to head back to the chaotic, unregulated land of New Brunswick to bring his dental shows to the summer circuit of country fairs. He gets himself a gaudy outfit and a gaudy band and a gaudy wagon, all his favorite things. During one show, he has a little bit of a disaster. He's trying to pull a tooth that it's just particularly stuck, and the patient screams really loud and scares off all of his prospective customers. So he comes up with the idea of having his band play really, really loud to drown out any potential screams that might happen. After that, his shows went something like this. The musicians would assemble and perform on stage at posted times. Their colorful red and white striped coats, straw hats, and red pants, and their lively Dixieland music not only attracted patrons, but put the people in a festive, excited, and relaxed mood. One could almost feel the electricity as the band played on.
This guy sucks, but I love him.
Moment, I would triumphantly emerge from the side of the stage, dressed in the finest top hat, silk shirt, and breeches, complete with vests and
like an
spats.
inspirational
Timing
level
was great.
problem.
I casually draped a white lab coat over what I considered to be my resplendent frame. On stage, my gray eyes sparkled as I searched the crowd for suitable candidates for my performance. Once the crowd produced a victim, I would usher that person onto the stage and into a barber chair. Then, in a very showman-like way, I would conduct a quick oral examination. This would identify the prospective abscessed tooth or root tip for my so-called painless extraction. At just the proper moment, I would give a hand signal to
really, really want to run. You say this is a fucking D&D character. I really want to run a D&D character who's like a necromancer who doesn't understand that he is not technically a healer and solves all of his problems by, like, if you come to him, they're like, my son has a cold. You go, I've just got the solution for this. And then he stabs the shit out of them and then raises them from the dead as a zombie. Right? Like, they don't have a cold anymore. You know? I mean, I'd have to have people to play D&D with. But
band, situated on both sides and behind the usually unwilling patient, which would strike up one of its loudest numbers. Deafened by the blaring music, the patient's countenance would change from fear to total bewilderment, shock, and numbness. But at least
reminds me of my lawful good necromancer I ran one time. He fundamentally did not understand why raising the dead might be wrong. Exactly.
patient wasn't screaming in fear. At just the precise moment, I would quickly snap my hand down and out from a little pouch hidden inside my sleeve and would pop my favorite extraction forceps. I would gracefully complete the performance by raising my other hand over the patient and then abruptly thump the patient on the chest with the palm of that empty hand. I did this for 2 reasons. It drove the wind out of the patient's lungs so they couldn't scream, and it forced them to open their mouth. At the same time, instantaneously and instinctively, my other hand holding the forceps drove into the victim's mouth and came out holding the offending tooth. Then I quickly hid the forceps from sight. I would then jauntily and victoriously parade around the stage, showing off the tooth in my hand. Any moaning sounds made by the patient at that time were effectively muffled by the loud music and the screams and cheers of the crowd. Despite what was advertised,
healer,
Parker
necromancer
patients did not always walk away satisfied. Many did not. Many complained of the pain and humiliation of being in his shows. When enough disgruntled patients would get together to confront him or get the law involved, he would just leave. He would just leave town. I would quietly fade into the fog. Next morning, my show and I were nowhere to be found. Under the veil of darkness, the painless dentist, widely known as Painless Parker, had moved on to another location. Soon, however, I ran out of towns I hadn't visited in New Brunswick. The persistence of local dentists and authorities forced me to leave, disappointed, discouraged, and betrayed by the profession which I was a member. Because I simply...
If I were to run a D&D campaign, I think I would probably run Call of Cthulhu, because it is so incredibly simple to get your head around. Like, your stats are from 0 to 99, right? You can put points into it with, like, you know, maybe 1 or 2 points a level or something like that. Or you do something and it gets you more experience or whatever. But, like, then you roll a percentage die. And that's your chance to succeed. If you have a 30 in library use, you have a 30% chance to use a library correctly to be able to find the book you're looking for. Like, it doesn't take that much to, like, get someone into it. I have, like, an old version of Call of Cthulhu, and I also, like, you know, ran it for a while. I was a DM for a Call of Cthulhu campaign for, like, couple years, where I just didn't kill my characters. D&D itself is like a perfectly fine system, but it feels very much like the Warhammer of role-playing games, where it's just like, yeah, I mean, we could play Bolt Action, or we could play Trench Crusade or something, but, like, what if we just play something else, you know? Like, what if we just play Warhammer instead of those things?
To help people obtain dental care. Tragically driven out of his home province, Parker returns to New York City. There he meets his wife, Frances. The two are enamored with each other, and they marry in secret behind her disapproving family's back. When he takes her back to New Brunswick,
I think vanilla D&D is fine.
He just can't resist doing a little hotel room dentistry. Jesus Christ. He is immediately arrested for practicing without a license and fined $400 and goes to
I want to see
jail.
how the Town of Nowhere game I'm doing
You're gonna
goes.
have to go to jail.
So that's quite a way to make an impression on your new wife. In our hero Painless's defense, New Brunswick hadn't previously required a license to practice. All the other stuff he got in trouble for in New Brunswick was
D100
not
systems
related
are
to
a lot
that.
better.
The license thing it's a new law that he didn't know about. A local dentist who hated him from before for, you know, all the other stuff, decided, hearing that he was back in town, that this was a great opportunity to get him
One
in
of the
trouble.
best things about D&D is how much it is publicly supported by people. You can find all of the rules for free very easily. If you say you're gonna play D&D, or if you're gonna play a role-playing game, everyone kind of assumes it's gonna be in D&D, so they, like, can give you all the stuff that you need, but, like, you don't. D&D is not the best role-playing system, in my opinion. To some degree, I think that Warhammer is probably the same. But again,
with the law for practicing without a license. When Painless gets out of jail, the first thing he does is rent the vacant lot across from this dentist's office. He hires a troupe of minstrels to put on a quote-unquote a large and raucous show. He promises the crowd that if anyone has had unsatisfactory dental work done by the unsatisfactory dentist who works in this office, that if you just come over to his hotel room, he'll fix it for you.
Hey Luke, how you
Around
doing?
this time, he puts together a new performance troupe. He's got a fire eater, he's got some musicians, his wife is gonna play the piano, it's gonna be great. He buys them all tickets.
A lot of Town of Nowhere is honestly just like D&D characters I want to run as gimmicks that the gimmick isn't good enough to do like an entire campaign with. You know? No worries, no worries. I just wanted to confirm that I could see that, so that way whatever you're testing is confirmed.
To California to start a new life. Once he gets there, okay, he even gets a California dental license. That's growth, okay? It's probably because he just had to pay for it and not pass any tests. But okay, it's some kind of growth. It's some kind of growth.
Yeah, I just need people that I do stuff with, I think.
They don't really make much money.
And I'm real bad about
end
like
up abandoning him. He and his wife are forced
hanging
to
out
head
with
back
people.
to Brooklyn to look for more lucrative jobs. Sitting on the train back to New York after this humbling failure, now expected to support not just himself but his wife, he thinks he's done. He's done with this chaotic traveling lifestyle once and for all, with street dentistry, with always being broke and disrespected by the institutions of his profession. I thought silently to myself, I've got to try to learn to practice dentistry in a more conventional manner. Once and for all, I'm gonna go straight. I'll do it for the rest of my life. He gets a good job in New York, but at this point, he's helping to support his parents, and he's paying for his brother to go to dental school, and there's no birth control, so the babies start coming out, and it's not enough money. And that's when he makes a strange friend in his landlord, a man named Bill Beebe, who used to be a manager for P.T. Barnum's circus. Beebe's like, whoa, okay, I love your whole thing. Okay, not this current thing. No. The thing from before, the whole like traveling circus dentist thing, that was kind of cool.
I think I could be down to run a one-shot for people who don't do D&D or tabletop games. That's literally just like one session and then it's over. That's part of the reason why I like Call of Cthulhu as well, is like, it's a horror story. It's based on like Lovecraft style stuff. You just die at the end usually. And if you survive, you've usually gone insane. You should look at Mothership. It's amazing for one-shots. Sure. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, D&D has a lot of issues. I think a lot of the issues that D&D has are largely just because of the company who runs it. Like, Sebnica, would you say that that's accurate? GURPS is pretty good for one-shot stuff as well. The combat is kind of slow and mid. Everything being done on a D20 is really awkward, because it's like 5% chance to succeed always is weird. It's also like D&D used to be like Warhammer, and then they retrofit the idea of like other stuff afterwards, like the role-playing bit. A lot of, yeah, okay. I feel like that it has other issues as well, being default, yeah. So you love GURPS, but haven't played Fallout 2. Yeah, exactly. Do you mean chainmail? I think I do mean chainmail, yeah.
We should do that, but profitable this time. Listen, man.
I think I could probably learn another system that's more
You're ahead of your time,
recent
dog,
than Call of Cthulhu that does a similar
One day, all
thing.
the health professionals will be advertising. You're a pioneer for dentistry.
I do like the idea of
Westmarch,
the West Marches.
And do a great deal of good for mankind, bringing dentistry
It's
to
like,
the masses.
what if D&D was an
You can be
MMO?
in show business. You can entertain as you educate the patients. Few people are given such opportunities in life. So Painless and his wife sit down and they have a serious family discussion. They say, all right, okay, so we're 26. Birth control has not been invented yet. Do you think we should spend literally the last of our money on hiring a circus manager? Yeah, you know, actually, I think, yeah, that sounds...
I really like that he found someone who is his level of freak. You know? There's a lot of stuff with, like, 5e. Like, I have not read over a lot of 5e stuff, but, like, The stuff that I have read leads me to believe that it has giant glaring holes. Like, you can play Vicious Mockery. You can use Vicious Mockery, a spell that, like, is essentially just an insult that does mental damage to you. You can do that on people in 5th edition that do not know what you're saying. Like, rules as written, they don't have to understand you. They don't even have to be, like, sentient. You can just be like, you're a fat ass, and they die from it. Even if it's like a plant. They can't hear you. A third VTuber card game has hit. I'm aware of the girl on the right. I'm not aware of the girl on the left. Here, let me move myself real quick. There we go. I'm aware of her existence. Why are there so many VTuber card games? Because the kind of person who would like VTubers is also the kind of person that would play card, like the kind of person who watches VTubers also plays card games, probably. I'm gonna see if I know any of these people aside from her. I've seen like YouTube shorts of her. I love her model with her eyes that just go like weird. That's great. Pastaroni? And I've seen Ophelia Valentine. We watched one of her videos, I think, at one point. Milky's a weirdo? I mean, listen. That's her design. And her name is Milky. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Mari Mari is someone you know? I don't know if Limes is in any of these card games. Limes is already in a different card game already. That's fucking cool, dude. I want to be a thing.
That sounds pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah,
let's do
okay.
that.
Fair enough.
Shockingly, this turns
I know
out to
Fred
be one
was
of the
in
best
one.
financial decisions they're gonna make, because Beeb makes it happen, okay? Advertising is his passion. Branding is his passion. He really latches on
Mari is a
specifically to
plap
the whole
tuber? Okay.
Painless Parker brand and idea,
I think you were in a
and
Vinesauce
just
card
goes
game.
crazy with it. Your name is now Painless Parker. Got that? At this point, Beeb started to yell, Painless, Painless Parker. He deliberately and slowly spelled out each letter. In fact, I'm never gonna call you Edgar again. Your name is now Painless. Beeb was on a roll as he continued. Painless, there's more. You'd better sit down to hear the rest of what I've got to say. Last night I designed some signs to fit your new and improved image. You will now have signs on both sides of the building. One will read, I am positively it in painless dentistry. Yes, me, Painless Parker. The it part will be 10 feet tall. I want people to be able to read your sign from the Grand Army Plaza about a mile away. Soon the city is covered in Painless Parker billboards with this stylish new logo with his face superimposed on a tooth. Beeb puts on
That's kinda
wild
rad.
shows all over the city to promote the Painless Parker brand and to bring people to the main dentistry practice. They have
Yeah, I honestly want to hear about his wife, because his wife sounds like she's as much of a problem as he is.
doing the street shows as promotion, but they also have an established office. He says that Beeb writes a schedule for him every single morning and leaves it on his desk. This is where you gotta be and when. Painless has the charisma, Beeb has the organization skills. Winning duo. Beeb comes up with just crazy shit that even Parker would not have. One day Parker is just sitting, he's reading the newspaper and he reads an announcement that Painless Parker himself is gonna publicly extract an infected tooth from a circus lion the next day. And he's like, Beeb, Man, what the fuck? Are you trying to get me eaten? And Beeb's like, no, trust me, bro. Bro, trust me, just show up. The following night, shaking at the knees, I climbed into Leo's cage in the center of the ring. An expectant hush fell over the capacity crowd as I reached through the bars of the partition and inserted an enormous pair of forceps into Leo's wide open mouth. Then, as the circus band burst forth with a triumphant blast, I gave a mighty pull, held aloft the forceps, the end of which firmly clasped what indeed looked like the lion's aching tooth. Of course, some skeptics in the crowd contended that the whole incident had been a cleverly executed hoax, and that Leo's tooth was, in reality, a plaster of Paris replica that had been surreptitiously inserted between the prongs of the forceps. To this day, I really don't know whether I did extract the lion's tooth or not, so I'm pretty sure that's his way of admitting that it was a hoax. I don't think he expects anyone to believe that. The business succeeds wildly, but Painless is only one person who can do so much. So they hire more dentists and staff and begin to open more and more Painless Parker dentistry
Hi,
locations.
wife. Are you home?
They sell Painless Parker brand products. The next decade is going to be an insane financial success.
No, this person, Painless Parker, is a problem. I'm gonna make food. Do you wanna let me know when food's done and then I can wrap up then? I'm gonna look at and kiss wife. They say there's someone out there for everyone, and I think the fact that this guy who went around ripping teeth out of people's faces found someone is proof.
Yes, for them. And might I just say, Painless was born to be an eccentric rich person. You know when rich people are just fucking
Ooh, I love
pierogies.
pierogies.
$2,000 beige sweatpants, and it's like, come on, man. If you're gonna have stupid money, at least do something weird with it. Painless delivers. He's always as weird and showy and gaudy as possible, and I like that about him. In 1904, I bought a Pope Toledo 4 gasoline-powered car. The 5-passenger automobile, which cost me about $3,500, was considered to be a very flashy number in its day, but it wasn't fancy enough for the new owner. I had every square inch of olive drab paint removed from its body and wheels and replaced by gold leaf.
Hold up. I found Limes' card on $7 for Limu. If your opponent plays a support card, you gain +1 to your next mascot card. Is this Pokemon? I just wanted to see what her card does. I don't fucking understand the game because I haven't looked at the rules any, but that looks nice. Meat card, Meat V card. Man, that's VTuber card. Age unknown, height 4'11". She is actually 4'11", I think. And I'm letting her round up on that one. Yeah, Meat's good people. This game sucked ass. Age prehistoric. Great. Man, Meat is worth $60? That's wild, dude. Crookeye, thank you for the 17 months of support.
Likewise, the black upholstery was replaced
It's
with bright
War
red
the game,
leather.
but worse.
The vehicle was
Oof.
kept so brightly polished that when I drove it down the street, traffic would come to a complete stop as I chugged majestically past. He says that around this time he applies to join the Brooklyn Auto Club, which is where snooty rich people with snooty cars.
There was a Vine Sauce TCG? Wait, 2014? But it's all Vinny jokes, right? This is literally the first I'm hearing that I'm in this game. It's not a TCG, it's just a CCG. Right, okay. They're collectible meme cards. It's not really meant to be a game. It can't be this one that I'm looking at, the Kickstarter of. You scan them and you get clips. This one? I was in this one? This is after Vinny said he didn't want us to be like a thing. The fuck? Yeah, I would say like that would be fucking weird if I was in that one. Card sauce is just okay. That's. Would you want to own a card of yourself? I mean, like RevScarecrow card. The RevScarecrow card likely refers to the Scarecrow card from Magic the Gathering. No, thank you, AI. You're wrong. Yeah, it has no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. You should sell tarot cards as merch. I was originally going to do that, but I need to understand. Vine sauce universe. Oh, not that. Is there like a show of all the cards in the set? It's got Yol and Germa in it. Yeah, okay. There's a list of them on Kickstarter. Sorry, random rabbit hole we're going down. I'll have to find the exact timestamp, but this is the video.
Informations is available. Hawaii Vinny. Dummy Vinny.
Okay.
Vinny derangement syndrome, the power to see him everywhere. This is that video I was talking about. This card will take you to a little
That's
BDS.
pretty cool, honestly. Like the idea of just having like that seems like the way to do a card thing without doing like a TCG. And I don't think that Vinny plays TCGs, so it's like probably not going to be his thing anyway. This game got stuck in France for 6 months. Interesting. because of events. He collects TCGs, but he doesn't play them. You either make Pokemon Copy or Magic the Gathering. Yeah, he just collects cards.
Go and go haha about each other's snooty cars. But of course, it's filled with all of these local doctors and professionals who reject him for being Painless Parker, and he's pretty bitter about this. These snooty ethicals discriminating against him and bullying him. Soon, advertising laws start to get stricter. Suddenly, you can't talk about prices anymore. He's no longer allowed to promote how much cheaper his services are than the competition. Living standards and sanitation begin to improve greatly, and some people start to suspect that making gaping holes in people's mouths on the side of the street might not be sanitary. I soon learned that I needed to have a lawyer at hand almost continually. In the 10 years I was in Brooklyn, I was sued for a total of $900,000. Generally, the suits ranged from $500 to $50,000. Naturally, I was framed. If there'd been anything to those suits, I'd still be paying them off. Most of these lawsuits never came to court. In fact, I suspect they had been started primarily to scare off my customers. However, my reputation appeared to be enhanced more as a result of all of the adverse publicity. Nevertheless, the more I was attacked by the ethicals, the more I felt obliged to put on my show of success. I wanted everyone to know that I was no mere mortal, that I was bigger than life itself. It gave me great pleasure to ostentatiously flash my 7.5
Well, thank you,
carat
Luigi
diamond
guy.
ring
I
on my
thought that
right
was a good
hand and
video.
my 4.25 carat diamond stud tie. I
The
retaliated
card
against the
unboxing
ethicals
one
in
where
my
I just
street
do like
messages,
a pack of
telling
playing
my audience
cards.
that it was highly likely that their dentists were soaking them for $4.50 for the sweet essence of nothing. Beeb had made the Painless Parker
Yeah, I
brand
kind of
a
want to know
massive
if he
success
dies from
and become
murder.
Parker's best
He probably
friend.
dies
Beeb
for old
had
age.
3 rings made featuring the Painless Parker logo with the tooth and Painless's face on them. 2 of those rings he gifted to Painless and his wife, and the 3rd was for him. He literally said, "I am in this marriage." However, in 1902, Beeb suffered a sudden stroke and died. Painless was devastated,
Aww.
and this began a period of general depression and burnout for him, which eventually led to a mental breakdown so bad that he was diagnosed with imminent death. Though he did recover, he decided that it was time to retire at the age of 34 to California. I imagined myself as a gentleman farmer. a breeder
34.
of
I'm
thoroughbred
37 and I have
racehorses.
not done as
Edgar
many
Painless
crimes as this
Parker.
man.
You would have done numbers on Wattpad. Another reason for moving to California, he says, is that it put distance between him and his family. His wife and kids went with him, of course, but the rest of his family and his wife's family, not a huge fan of him anymore. Remember how I said that he was paying for his younger brother to go to dental school? Yeah, well, his brother got indoctrinated by all those shitty ethicals in college, and now he's one of those. And you know who else became one of those? One of those dirty ethical dentists, his father of the 5 billion failed careers, also decided to go into dentistry. Once settled in California, however,
I would
Painless's
not choose
retirement,
dentistry after my
shockingly,
son
did
made
not
a
last long.
traveling
In my
circus of
unconscious,
it.
The conversation probably went as follows. The ethically respectable man would whisper into my ear, "It's insanity for you to think of starting a 3rd career at the age of 34. How can you do this to Frankie again? How will she be able to withstand the stress if you transgress the dental code again? You'll continue to be hounded by all those dentists." In my other ear, the showman hollered, "This is your great opportunity. You've been called to this type of life. If you don't get some excitement soon in your life, you'll shrivel up." He winds up buying a failing dental office.
Not
in a
really sure
supposed
why
partnership
Kofi
with
Bot
the
is
elderly
double
dentist
posting
who's already
sometimes.
running it, who is this guy named Dr. Fram. I put on my bullet-ridden top hat, my tails, ascot tie, and wore all 12 carats worth of diamonds. I drove to Dr. Fram's office and told him, "Get your forceps limbered up, you're gonna need 'em. I'm going out on the streets to dig us up some worms." I grabbed a 2-tone klaxon, a set of Swiss bells, and a small portable organ. That morning, I drove my beautiful red Peerless automobile down to Los Angeles and found the busiest intersection I could locate. The car had a big round sign
Well,
on the side with
hysteria
my
is
Painless
just
Parker
like
name painted on
your
it.
uterus
I
is out of
short-circuited
control
my
and
Peerless
acting weird.
so that it would backfire.
So we gotta, like,
then
take
set
it
off a
out,
string of
'cause you're-
firecrackers next to the car.
You're
cranked
acting
up
weird.
The klaxon and
You're
rang
acting
the
like a
bells.
woman.
In
It's probably
1906,
your
automobiles
uterus.
was still considered a
It's like
rarity,
great
especially those
diagnosis,
painted
y'all.
bright red. People came running from every direction expecting to witness a spectacle of an
That's
expensive car
great.
about to self-destruct.
Wandering
In a matter of
womb.
minutes, I was standing up on the seat in my automobile. Then, in what I considered to be my most booming voice, I began my famous lecture on the terrors of tooth neglect. Dr. Fram just stops showing up one day. He's just like, "No, it's not worth it anymore." He just skedoodles. Painless.
Your
scared
disease
him
is
away.
that you're being
His
a girl
relationship with
and
his
you
wife
need to
and
stop
kids is
being so
suffering extremely
girly.
at this point too.
Then your life
because
will be
he's
better.
So obsessive
Doctors are
with his
so
work,
cool
he has a
like that.
constant
They
need
still
for
do that kind
excitement.
of shit.
He
They just call it
really
something
just doesn't
different.
pay attention to them or consider their needs ever. He begins to receive death threats presumably from local dentists who hate him, although they're not really signing their names on the death threats. It's presumably local dentists threatening to kill him, and his family are terrified. His wife has to hire a
he's
chauffeur
definitely
to take
making
the kids to
the
school every day 'cause
dentistry
they're afraid of
look
getting
bad.
murdered, and they're all like, Painless, Father Painless, please tone it the fuck down. He won't. He's not gonna. He just doesn't care. Twice, someone actually does show up to try and murder Painless, although he escapes, because both times they show up with a gun and they're like trying to shoot him while he's in his car and he drives away. They try and fabricate Painless Parker sex scandals. They're attacking each other in the newspapers.
Yeah, there was like a
constantly.
cure for hysteria that was just like, ride a train in a very specific way. And yeah, it just got you off.
By 1910, he is richer than he ever was in New York and has an even larger network of dental offices. Always ready to adopt new technology, he hires blimps and planes to fly around
So
with
good for
Parker
them.
logos. Film is a new medium. He
Honestly, getting laid
educational
does solve
films
some
about
problems.
dental health and screens them in his office. But of course, old Painless Parker, he's always going to have a soft spot for the classics. With the emerging movie industry now taking a toll on live entertainment, he finds one day that there's a circus up for sale for pretty cheap. I paid only $50,000 for the entire operation. Think of it, boy. A genuine circus with lions, flying trapeze, sword swallowers, and a girly show. Marvelous.
Girly
Of
show?
course, the tent had holes in it. The lions had mange. It was the real stuff, the king of rube shows, the climax of my career. I was the ringmaster, boy. I immediately began to rejuvenate the circus and had a bandstand constructed which closely resembled a gaping set of upper and lower teeth. The red-coated musicians looked as if they were about to be chewed up by the supersized teeth. I called it Painless Parker's Dental Circus, and it staged performances in towns up and down the coast of California. He says that while other circuses continue to fail and diminish, his, with all this love and care put into it, actually does pretty well. This is around the time that he says he extracted the 357 teeth in one day and had the necklace made. But although it is fun, he knows that the circus is not a long-term, amazing financial decision. And eventually, with the help of his wife's urging, he does sell it.
Wait, I thought his wife...
Himself once again, this is it. I retire from street dentistry. I'm going to focus on my
guess he got
offices.
another one.
I, Painless Parker, I'm going to get normaler. He lied. One afternoon, as I was walking down San Francisco's Howard Street, I happened to observe a local sidewalk evangelist preaching to a small group of individuals. This self-made man of religion, calling himself the Cardinal, had devised his own religion and was seeking converts. I couldn't stand the painfully amateurish job this evangelist was doing. It was enough to turn a man's stomach. After taking all that I could, I laid my gloved hand on the evangelist's arm and said, "Brother, before hearing your golden words, I was charging ahead in life down this sidewalk, merely contented to seek..."
I've got it over on the other monitor, like... I'm gonna back it up just a little. So this is the vine sauce thing.
Hello, Peter. Barv Boy. Play classic bit plague games. Barv Boy. Granddad? No. Barv Boy? Pokechew? Liminal Man. No one knows its existence. It hasn't even been created properly. It's true. I think that's the first Liminal Man. Rev, third most popular streamer on Vinesauce. There's so much I could say about this right now about I'm just gonna let it go, but the ranking of the streamer popularity probably doesn't feel good for anyone.
Not really, no.
But yeah, they're,
Huh. That's literally the first I'm hearing that my card exists. That picture was taken by my wife at the was it Kirby Lane in South Austin? Technically image use without permission, yeah. No, I mean, no one's buying the fucking Vinesauce card pack or the Vinny Vinesauce card pack for Rev. I don't think he knew what half the cards were. Yeah, I think they were probably just trying to scrape together enough content to make a like full set of cards. That's very weird. Statistically, there's at least one person who wanted you as their most wanted card. Maybe. Hard maybe on that one. That is a weird vibe. I don't know how I feel about that. I like being included. It just seems kind of like a weird choice to be like, I want space, but also including Yul and me in a card game. I don't know what that means. I don't want to sue him. Yeah, I mean, Vinny was weirded out by the ranking, because the ranking thing has always, I mean, low-key has bugged me, because it's just like, I would like to be the #1 streamer who is me. For what it's worth, he didn't make it. Yeah, sure. Weird that I was not aware of it. I'm not going to sue him. It's not worth suing him over. It's just kind of a weird vibe.
Worldly gain. Now, it's different. I've just received the call to speak to your little flock here, if you don't object. The evangelist was somewhat taken aback, but stepped down from his soapbox to allow me to ascend to the sidewalk.
Yeah, it comes back to the whole, like, Vine sauces, like, or, you know, that other streamers are just, like, waiting rooms for, you know, streamers. Yeah, Mike wasn't informed about the Red Vox game either. Yeah, despite being the drummer for the bands that, or the songs that were in the thing. What is XQC streaming? Yeah, I mean, it's still kind of a thing. Like, I ban people for it now if they, like, say, like, hey, Yul is streaming or whatever, and then they go and watch Yul instead. It's just like, look, just file out the door. I'm aware. Like, I dropped, like, 20-something viewers because Limes went live, but I don't care. You know, I like Limes. She's good peoples. It feels bad to have people leave to go watch someone else, but I know where I'm at. It's just weird.
Pulpit. Flock, I said. God hates a man who neglects his teeth. Even when they banned street dentistry in 1914, he continues to do his roadside sermons, even if no teeth are actually getting pulled in the process. Then something that is particularly offensive to him happens. The California state legislature introduces a bill that would make it illegal for dentists to practice under any name besides their legal name. Now, this is obviously a jab at him specifically. There's no other famous dentists using pseudonyms at this time. He gets into a fist fight with a member of the California Dental Board about that, but doesn't help the situation. So at the age of 43, he winds up legally changing his name from Edgar to Painless. Painless's California years / later career years are going to be characterized by constant legal battles. I began to experience a rash of malpractice lawsuits, as if it's a medical condition. It's mysterious. It's like, oh, what is this? I'm breaking out in this rash. It's dental malpractice, I think. Fremont Older in 1917 helped me break into San Francisco society.
I wonder what the QR code goes to.
The prestigious Round Table, a group of distinguished...
Wait, what the fuck does the QR code for the Rev card? It had to have been a different video than this one here. That's what I was gonna check to see if I could scan it. Like it looks like it's good enough. Actually, hold on, let me... God, that is such an old picture of Yul. He looks so fucking young. Food's done? Okay. I will be right down. I just want to check something real quick. Sorry, we went down a rabbit hole. Okay. Open link. So Yul's links to... Okay, yeah, that's fair. It looks like it links to his channel? That would be, I guess, what I would prefer as well. And then...
It's true. That's the...
This one's a little bit blurry, but I think I can get it. Might be a little too blurry still.
I think that's the first liminal man. Rev, third most popular streamer on Vinesauce. There's so much I could say about this right now about I'm just gonna let it go, but the ranking of the streamer popularity.
Yeah, I can't get it to scan. It leads to your channel too. Okay, that's good at least. I couldn't get it to scan. I might not be at a high enough. Oh yeah, it's at. There we go. Yeah, even at 1080p, I can't get it. The card's not in the final release, probably because of that.
Probably doesn't feel good for anyone. But
fair enough.
Businessmen and well-known visitors who met daily in a secluded corner of the Palm Court.
I would
in the
love to make
world-famous
my own
Palace
card
Hotel.
game.
In these exclusive meetings, scions of business and society gathered to electrify and impress one another with their wit and wisdom. One day, a well-known ethical dentist was invited as a guest to the round table. When that visitor was placed next to me, he immediately recognized me and vociferously demanded that he be seated elsewhere.
I should probably stop so I can go eat, yeah? Because my wife just, like, told me food's done. I'm a little shaky from drinking so much coffee. Also, go eat with wife. I think that is business cards that are a card game. I mean, like, my business card is, like, I like my business card. My business card fucking slaps, dude. Do I have one on me? Yeah. Old design, but, like, I should probably use the big screen for it. Yeah. Boom. This is my business card. Of course, the thing isn't. But it's the size and shape of a playing card, roughly. And it's shaped like a playing card. It's a little bit thinner than a playing card. Let me see if I can focus it. Sorry, camera. There's that side, and then I don't know if you can read it, but oh, it's upside down. You definitely can't read it like that. Colin Mullen, you got the QR code that brings you to the website, my website name, and the website email. I mean, obviously it's a little blurry. I can't get the thing just right, but yeah. Honestly, not a bad mechanic that, like, you shuffle a wife card into each player's deck, and once you hit it, like, the game's over, and, like, you win. So, like, Yeah, what if Tilda's just like the Exodia of the game? Where just like if you get like my wife plus like the 2 cats, then you win. Cause like if the game just ends when wife is drawn, that might be bad vibes. That might be bad vibes. Cause it would be like my wife makes it so we can't play anymore. It's like not a bad idea, but as a combo piece. We definitely did have an idea. Sorry, I zoomed in on the earphone so I could see like sappy enough to gross her out. It's perfect. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go and close this video. Interesting as shit video there, though, about man who does not give a shit. Can you link the video? Yeah, let me get it again. I'm a Limes and Yol are all on for raids. Who's raided me recently? Olive? Limes hasn't raided me recently. Yol raided me a little bit ago, and Ima raided me the other day. Coin flip? Coin flip between the two. All right, here's what we do. Heads Yol, tails Ima. Coin flip. Which way was which? Was it tails is Ima? I think. I should probably remember. Ima Cooney. Okay, we're gonna raid Ima then. I'm gonna go kiss wife. Raid Ima Cooney. It's pronounced Ima? Yeah, I don't pronounce Yol's name right either. When's the next stream? I'm gonna not be live Monday or Tuesday. I will be back Wednesday. All right. I will see you guys later. Thank you so much for watching.